Welcome everyone, Elijah Bedrosian, licensed professional counselor here in Arizona. Today's video is called About Finding Center, so it's about my Finding Center video series. Let me just share a little bit about my therapeutic approach, some of my training. So I'm trained in EMDR as well as somatic experience. These are two pretty different approaches to the healing of trauma. Some of the way that I approach things is, one of the things that I've come to believe is that we internalize our external environment, and particularly when we are very young. So depending on the presence of things such as love and nurture, violence, chaos, connection, disconnection, talking about feelings, not talking about feelings, physical touch, the lack thereof, those things oftentimes are ingrained within us, and especially when we're very young. And so we can seek those same types or similar types of environments, relationships, or work environments later in our lives without even having awareness that we're doing that, just trying to get our needs met. So another huge piece is that relationships they're critical, and so the types of relationships that we get in oftentimes are related in some way to the types of relationships that we experience when we're very young. But just to be very clear, it's not just sort of the attachment or the bond between your caregiver or lack thereof that indicates your relationships, the quality of them, how you enter into relationships, how you get your needs met. It's actually all the way through the lifespan. So you may have had a crummy upbringing with not too much care or attention or abuse, etc., and then you got into a really good relationship, and that became a corrective experience for you, and vice versa. You could come from a really nurturing home, lots of love shown, protection. You know, parents are doing vast majority good parents, and you end up in a crappy relationship. And then so your sense of trust, your sense of safety and security, your level of attachment can change inside the context of those relationships. So our environment, our context, very, very important when we're talking about our sense of fulfillment, our sense of purpose, our sense of happiness. Without that, really difficult to look at anything like mood or, for example, anxiety, depression. I fully believe that you can't look at those things in a vacuum. It just doesn't make any sense, right? We have to know the context. We have to know the person's environment, where they're coming from. So there's a little bit about me, a little bit about my therapeutic approach. Through the Finding Center series, I'm going to be discussing some different ideas, some different understandings that I have come to have. And there will be different themes. One consistent theme will be around self-regulation. And so self-regulation really is a fancy term for finding a way to help yourself feel better. There's lots of ways that we engage in self-regulation. Oftentimes it's beneath our awareness. We're not even realize that we're doing that. So it might be shifting in a chair, to taking a medication, to drugs and alcohol, to a behavior, to getting in this relationship, to leaving this job, to moving over to this other place over here. All these things are different ways of helping to self-regulate ourselves. That will be a consistent theme through the series. So the Finding Center video series really is about my evolving understanding of what is helpful to people, what is healing for people, and what helps people to thrive. So just as a brief comment here, my suggestions through this series are just that. They're suggestions. Please don't take those as a substitute for professional help. It's my belief that it's useful as a skill to be able to find our center, especially when we're lost or we're off kilter, we've lost our path. And so that's part of the theme, part of the idea around the Finding Center series is, how do I find my center? How do I get skillful at finding my center, and particularly when I have been off track? So hopefully this series can help you to find your own center.